Around.
Okay. All right, let's get started, all right?
All right.
Okay. Welcome to Riverwest Radio. This is Eliza Brooks, and I'm talking with political satirist, comedian, activist, and all-around common sense stored in the side of the elite, Lee King.
Thanks for having me. I like your place here.
Thanks. Welcome. Well, before we get into the muck of politics, tell our listeners a bit about yourself, your background, where did you grow up, and how did you find yourself in the world of comedy and politics?
I grew up outside of D.C. till I was 8, and then Richmond, Virginia for most of the rest of the childhood, and then went right after college, moved to New York City, so I've been there for the past 10 years. And I just wanted to be a comedian growing up, or a humorist, and then I did comedy without really any politics in it for several years, probably 5 or 6. And then I both became more political in my personal views, and I felt the need that if I was given such a gift, and I'm not talking about a talent, but the gift of just that people are paying to come see me or comedians speak. There aren't many art forms left where people will pay to hear someone speak their mind. I mean, a play is pre-written and not really someone speaking their mind, and so there's not much left. And so I figured if I was going to be given that gift to stand on a stage like that and people get to listen to me, I wanted my jokes to be about something deeper. And so I started being funny, trying to make people pee their pants, but still learn something at the same time. Because, that's the key is, so if you can make someone pee themselves and learn at the exact same moment, that's the key.
The universe comes together.
It does.
Right? Okay. Well, you have your finger on the pulse of the nation. You get it. How do you imagine this will all turn out? Wars, banks, the election?
How do I imagine the world will turn out? God, that's a question for you right there. I like to say I'm a cynical optimist. I view the glass as half full of crap. So I am positive in the sense that if I thought it was all done and we didn't have a shot, I would give up and there'd be no need for a fight. But I actually believe that small acts make a huge difference, and we all need to fight in the way we can. I fight through my comedy and speaking in that way. Different people fight with radio. They fight with just being a protester in the crowd, and so everybody fights in there. They fight with their wallet. Fighting with your wallet is key. Just what you buy and where you go to the store and that kind of thing. And so I think we all fight in our own ways, and I do think it has an effect. And I think that it's time that apathy was punched in the face. I think we're slowly seeing that. I think with the Occupy movement, you can call it different things. You can call it Occupy. You can call it the Indignados in Spain. You can call it UK Uncut. You can call it protests in Greece. You can call it, the Recall Walker protests. It's people standing up in a big way and saying that we've had enough of this corporate pillaging of the world that we've all just accepted like it's a Black Eyed Peas song. We're like, well, it's going to be around for a while. Might as well pretend like I like it. We've all had enough of that, I think, and you're slowly seeing people really wake up, and I think that it could have a huge effect. I do. So I have a positive view. I don't have a positive, maybe short-term view. I don't think that this is all going to turn around tomorrow. I think this is a marathon, and we got to stick through it.
All right, very good, very good. Well, kind of leads into my next question. The reflective thought on the state of the minds of the American people. How do you see that? As a population, where are they?
I think that you have a combination of people who, as you said, get it. People that are aware of the lies they're being told in the media and understand that this needs to turn around. Now, different people take different tacks with that. Some think it's just fighting against Republicans. Some think it's a larger fight than that, getting money out of politics and that kind of thing. But basically they're awake. So I think that's half the population, and then the other half are caught up in either their own troubles, their debt that they've been forced into, or just taking care of their family, just getting through the job, just and watching stupid celebrity television and ignoring the larger picture. And, it's tough for me to really criticize that, because when your life is that difficult, you don't have the time for this stuff, it's tough to say, hey, stop shopping at the cheaper store, shop at the local store where you can actually help your community. It's tough to say that to someone who's trying to scrape by, but the truth is that I think slowly, even people that don't have a lot of time for it, don't have a lot of time for this crap, will realize that it makes a big difference, and they themselves need to make that change in order to really turn the path of the country around.
All right. Now, let me just point out here, your comedy points the finger directly at the ills in the establishment, and I've read comments about your efforts and reviews from people saying, right on, and this guy gets it, and endless agreements all around. You say that all the right things and things so many people are feeling, and your approach rings true with anyone paying attention. You're able to articulate and strike at the heart of the matter at hand. What do you think it will take for people to actually rise up, get involved, and be inspired to act?
Well, unfortunately, I do think that it has to keep getting bad for things to turn around. I'd love to see it happen now. I'd love to see and it feels like it is, like I said earlier, it feels like it is starting to happen. I think Occupy is a huge step, and shows people are upset, and people are. It's a mental awakening. It's a revolution of the mind. It's people are tired of greed over good, of profitable pollution over people, of war for wealth, of the welfare of average citizens. Like, people are tired of it, and so I think you are seeing people waking up. But like I said, it's just a slow process, and it's a long marathon. I do want to correct one thing you said. You said agreement all around. Not quite true. Sadly, plenty of people very much disagree with me, but I think that's part of taking a stand. Anytime you take a stand. And that's another thing, is people don't want to talk about these issues in front of their family because they might get into an argument or something. But I think these things should be talked about. I think that the arguments should be had so that the people that don't get the alternative media, that don't turn off the main channels and learn from alternative sites online and that kind of thing, what's really going on, I think that they need to get that from their family and friends. So I think we should speak about these things in mixed company, as it were.
Well, this brings me to my next question, which actually kind of fits with your thoughts about, getting opposing views. So we probably agree, you and I, both parties are corrupt. Mm-hmm. How do you approach that subject in light of a third party and the notion from a number of liberals and Democrats that Obama is the lesser of two evils?
Yeah, it's a tough question, and I think that. And it took me a while to come around to this view, but I think that the longer we vote for the lesser of two evils, the more the country continues to get pulled to the right, because you're always going to have a lesser of two evils. Chances are the Democrats are always going to be pro-choice. And so no matter what they do on everything else, corporations and wars and 900 military bases around the world, and, if you cut the funding out of the Afghanistan war for 4 days, you could get rid of the deficit of a city like Detroit. And that's 4 days. Imagine what the entire war could have done, the amount of money that could have stayed in the country and helped people's lives. And so you're always going to have that lesser of two evils. And so I very much think that the other parties need to play a significant role, and we need to force the media to cover it. And again, people need to get their media from other sources and at least be talking about these other candidates. Talk about Rocky Anderson and the Justice Party and people that are right on not just issues like pro-choice or gay marriage, but are right on issues like Wall Street and corporations and regulating them and giving the people a choice in whether a corporation destroys their community or not. And I think they need to play a big role, and I don't know if you're going to see that until you get money out of politics. So I think that really is the root of all evil in a lot of ways, until the money is even on for every different party running, doesn't matter, until the money's even and it's really take it out of the system, you're not going to see a fair race. And so I do think that's important. But I also understand that these, I call them smaller issues, the social issues, the issues that corporations don't give a crap about, like gay marriage, they are important. And so it's not that I don't think they're not important. I just wonder how long can we be pulled to the right while saying, oh, lesser of two evils, lesser of two evils, lesser of two evils forever.
Right, exactly. I agree. Now, you brought up Occupy Wall Street, so can you briefly talk about your experience with Occupy Wall Street and what was it like? Where did you hope it would go, and is it still heading in the direction you thought it would?
It was amazing. It was the most amazing thing I've taken part of, been a part in. I think the most amazing movement. I was lucky enough that David DeGraw, who kind of helped get people talking about this before Occupy started, asked me to do a video supporting a movement on June 14th of last year, Move Your Money / Occupation of Wall Street. And so I did a video promoting that. And then the occupation didn't happen, didn't get enough people, but then it did happen on September 17th. And I was lucky enough to be there the first night and got to perform, my weird blend of activist comedy within the first week, and to thousands of people, and the energy was amazing. And watching the energy sweep across the country and then the world was truly incredible. It was like just watching it grow like a wave at a football stadium or a rash at a nudist colony. It was amazing, and it was incredible. And I think that the people that want to say, it didn't accomplish anything, it changed the entire conversation in this country in a matter of months. Like, within a matter of months, people like Mitt Romney are using terms like 99% and 1%. It completely changed the conversation in this country. I don't know that any movement has had an effect that large that quickly. And then when they say, it hasn't achieved enough in the time it's an incredibly young movement. I mean, civil rights took 10 years, and how long does the feminist movement take? Like, these things take years and years, so the idea that it should all happen in 3 weeks is insane. And in terms of where it's going now, I don't know. I do think that it will continue to be a strong presence, and I think that movements like that need to always change and need to always try new techniques. And for a while, the encampment style was working, and once enough people got pepper sprayed and arrested, it's not necessarily the answer now. But I think that these things need to keep changing, and it's created a great activist base online that people are all connected and turning out. And the protests for NATO right now in Chicago probably wouldn't have been as large as they are without the Occupy kind of movement creating that energy and that connection. And so I think it'll keep moving on and keep being powerful. Yeah,
so it's a foundation stone in a sense.
Yeah,
for everything else that grows out of it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, you're going to be in Madison this evening, and so what's your take on the Walker situation? And feel free to rant as long as you want on the Koch brothers. Because people here, they know the name, even in Wisconsin, but their efforts are still very invisible to the average person.
Right. I'm a huge fan of Scott Walker's. That's the one thing. He's the one Republican I really love. I feel like he's done good work. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, he's he's awful, but he's exactly what we're going to see more of, which is this kind of corporate created. I mean, he's just skin wrapped around a pile of money. That's all it is, and we're gonna see that more and more. And you're seeing it with like Mitt Romney, and you're seeing it with a lot of candidates. And it's a privilege, first of all, to be a part of this this fundraiser tonight in Madison. It's at the Barrymore Theater, I think 8 p.m. And for the Recall Walker effort. And obviously I hope he gets recalled, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this across the country. And a lot of this stuff is kind of, you see these little testing grounds of the corporations. How far can they push things? Like in Ohio, they were like, hey, can we destroy all unions? And then people voted to no, you can't. And now, they're doing it here, and the people are saying, no, you can't. And the question is how, because this is the thing, money doesn't get tired. All right, it's not going to end. It's not going. You can recall Walker, or the Recall Walker effort could fail, and there'll be another one tomorrow in terms of where the efforts of the money, the corporations, is going to go. This is an endless fight, and so people need to stay energized and keep fighting. And I think it's important. Yeah, in terms of the Koch brothers. So for those who don't know, but I assume if they're your listeners, they probably know that the Koch brothers fully funded Walker, and they funded. They have $44 billion between the two of them, and they fund an immense number of either libertarian or far right-wing politicians and causes, the Tea Party for one, and they're just, they're Darth Vader with a little more money. That's all they are. And it really is, people love to talk about these conspiracies, these shadow governments and that kind of thing. Well, it's not a shadow government. It's just two guys who have an immense amount of money and can therefore fund each different politician and make sure that their ideas get out there and get pushed out there, and then horrible laws ultimately come through. You have people in like for example the law that allowed Trayvon Martin to get killed. I mean, we'll find out whether Zimmerman goes to jail or not. The Stand Your Ground law was created by ALEC, which is the group that Koch brothers are a big part of. And so these horrible laws get created in these groups of billionaires and millionaires, and then they get pushed out to legislations, and it ultimately greatly harms our country. So, I think that again, it's coming back to money and politics. If money wasn't such a factor in politics, it wouldn't matter that they have $44 billion. It wouldn't. They would just be 2 votes. 2 votes and maybe a podium speech every once in a while. But instead, money equals votes, so they've got an immense number of votes, far more than the rest of us. And now then you see people like Scott Walker popping up like weasels out of the ground.
Well, that's very true. And yet, we're this close to looking at the polls, and I know you just kind of touched on this, but we know we kind of have a feeling of what it would be like if Walker loses. But what if he wins? Mm-hmm. How do you think that will affect the dynamics of politics and the nation? In what area do you think will that just spread like Occupy Wall Street did? In that sense, will these politicians and this money come and influence everything?
Right. I mean, I do think that it will be a big win for corporations and the moneyed interests to keep Walker in. But the other thing is, whether he wins or loses, you're going to see them continue to push. And so it really is whether the people are going to stand up, and first of all recall Scott Walker, but furthermore stand up against, like the emergency manager laws in Michigan. You got to, because it's going to continue to happen where they're going to undercut democracy. I mean, the emergency management law is nothing but taking away democracy. It's saying what the people voted for doesn't matter. It's not fixing things, in our opinion, so therefore we're going to put in essentially a dictator. I mean, it's absolutely bizarre that money can buy away democracy, just buy it out of the system. And what they have in money, we have in numbers. And so we've got to fight with our numbers. It's the only way.
I'm going to go off the page here.
Yeah.
Just for a second.
Riff for a minute.
Now, with that kind of push, money and, money buys security, which buys police. Will we get to a point where people are just going to kind of coalesce together in communities, like they did in Berkeley and in several other places, and perhaps just say, you know what, we're going to have our own little island here, and you guys are going to do what you want. We're just going to keep voting it down, and sort of like the idea of an open source state, right? Where you have, you invite all the people who have student loan debt. The most intelligent people who can, and you say we're not gonna hold that against you if you want to get a job here. Right. We're not gonna put that a mark. We don't look at credit ratings. Yeah. And so you have people, gathering in different places throughout the country. I mean. Yeah. No. I think that's a great point, and I think that probably is one of the most positive things you can see in all this, is that maybe it is making people realize the value of things outside of what money can buy them, the value of friends and community, because we've gotten so far away from that. I mean, we've gotten into a very fragmentary existence where none of us leave our computers, and actually there's that great quote over video of Scott Walker saying it, divide and conquer. When we're all divided and we're in our basements alone, it's a lot easier watching the TV ads that are funded by Koch brothers, watching the campaign ads. It's very easy to conquer us that way. Whereas if people come together and say, this is the way we want to live, we don't want to live in this style, this dystopian future you've created for us, I think that could be one of the most positive things that could come from all of this hardship. Back in the 90s, I read a book by Putnam called Bowling Alone.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I didn't read it, but I heard
and it just is sort of, in a sense, one could say it's sort of futuristic, because people were saying, well, no, that's not going to happen. But it's in a grassroots and community level. It already has happened. Mm-hmm. And so, bringing that, that whole idea. But I think people are turning in. Like here in Riverwest, we have a co-op grocery store.
Oh,
we have a co-op art community, and we have a co-op bar.
Yeah.
Of course, in Milwaukee, you have to have a bar. So, and they're taking the money from these co-ops and putting them into other co-ops. So, this is something that's growing, and I think supporting that. But how people are, they want things yesterday.
Right.
So, pushing that forward. The amount of work, you have to get away from your computer, and go into the community and start to work. And I think that's probably starting to happen. Looking at the glass half full, hopefully with clean water.
right.
Not the stuff that gets dumped into the lake every once in a while in a big rain.
Yeah. No, I think that's great, and I think that needs to be an important part of our future. And I think that's part of what scared the big banks and the corporations so much about Occupy Wall Street, is it's showing people, in a way, a different way to live. And I don't mean a complete opposite way to live, but just, they're giving out free clothing to people that need it, and food to people that need it. And there's a lot been made. The media has their various stupid old hits that they love to do against protest movements. And, one of the ones against Occupy is, it's homeless people down there. Well, yeah, homeless people are showing up down there. And guess what? It's because there's a little square of empathy in the middle of New York City, or the middle of whichever city it's in. There's a little square of people that give a crap about other people. And so guess what? The people that have trouble and need help, they're showing up there. What a surprise! Yeah. It's mind-boggling how that happens.
Isn't it amazing? And those are really good Christian principles too.
Yeah,
it's really bizarre.
I know, that's another thing, the way that religion has gotten so far separated from its base tenets of caring for the poor and not judging people and that kind of thing. It's the polar opposite now for a lot of religious people, and I totally respect religious people as long as they continue to have those base tenets that it seems like it was founded on.
Well, Lee, I want to thank you for coming here today. Now, you're going to be performing in Madison. Can you give our listeners more detail on your appearance again?
Yeah, it's tonight. It's at 8 p.m., I believe, at the Barrymore Theater. I think if you look up the Barrymore Theater website, you can buy tickets online there. It is a fundraiser. All the money's going to United Wisconsin to recall Scott Walker, or most of the money. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. There's I'm headlining the show, but there's also a couple of other great comics on it that people will get to check out. More local guys, and should be a lot of fun. And if people want to look me up, I'm at leecamp.net, and not leecamp.com. That's a Korean porn site. And it's on Twitter at leecamp. So it's LEECAMP.
And we archive our audio shows. Do you know where you'll be headed next? And please direct listeners, to your website, I was going to say, but where are you going after Madison now?
I'm back to New York for at least a few days there. I'm in New York a lot, so if people are ever in New York, I almost always have shows there. Then my next trip is Vancouver. I'll be playing June 1st and 2nd at Yuck Yuck's Comedy Club. And then Montana, Bozeman, June 28th. I'll be playing a theater there. And then there's some other stuff. I'll be at Netroots Nation in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, first week of June as well. But yeah, leecamp.net has the schedule. I also put out these free videos called Moment of Clarity each week that people can watch for free at leecamp.net.
Those are wonderful, by the way.
Thanks.
So I want to thank our guest, Lee Camp, for joining us today on Riverwest Radio. We hope you will return to Milwaukee often, Lee, and your voice is not only important, it's truly invaluable.
Thank you. Yours too.
Thanks. Spread the word of our efforts to bring enlightened voices and topics that affect your life in the community, the nation, and the world. Our shows are archived for your convenience at riverwestradio.com and on YouTube. At youtube.com/riverwestradio. We hope you will listen and continue to support your public community radio waves. Remember, you own them. Support and take good care. This is Liza Brooks. Thank you for listening.
That's all.